So many business owners and professionals, look, they're hesitant to check their LinkedIn messages. You go in there and you expect to find only cold pitches, impersonal sales approaches, which really are not relevant to you or your business. But what if hidden among those messages are the genuine opportunities to build your business? So today's guest, he's built a successful business by showing us how to turn LinkedIn inboxes into absolute gold mines. Welcome to the Business Behind Your Business podcast. I'm Paul Sweeney. And look, we've talked about LinkedIn before with some of our previous guests, but it's clear that there's a lot more to the platform than what we've already uncovered. There's a lot of, tools, tips, and I guess benefits that we're not gaining from it. So we need to find out more. We've been hearing from you that you want to learn more. You want to find out more about how you can maximize LinkedIn to your advantage. So what we're going to do is avoid that feeling that when you turn on LinkedIn, we're just going to be hit by a stream of cold pictures and generic messages. We're going to look for what's underneath that noise and how we can build real opportunities, real relationships, and grow your business. So today we're revisiting LinkedIn because there are some features that we haven't discussed before, but we need to dive in deep. And we've brought in the expert, John Nemo, who's got a very practical take on how to turn our overlooked messages into genuine business leads. So if you're looking for ways to get more out of LinkedIn beyond the usual advice, this episode is going to give you some great, fresh ideas. So what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at things like why LinkedIn is more than just your online CV. It's a powerful sales engine. What are some of the biggest mistakes people are making on LinkedIn and how you can go about fixing them, and how to turn some of those simple messages into meaningful business conversations. It's become the go-to platform for professionals, but most people are leaving a lot of money on the table. So today we're going to dive in deep how to transform your profile and your approach to generating real leads and revenue. So my guest today, John Nemo, he's a LinkedIn marketing expert, author and founder of Nemo Media Group. And John has helped thousands of professionals leverage LinkedIn to grow their business. So John, welcome to the Business Behind Your Business podcast.
Hey, so glad to be here, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Look, it's an absolute pleasure. And as I mentioned, we're hearing a lot about LinkedIn. We're hearing some frustrations, but we're also hearing, I guess, one of the frustrations is we just really don't know how to maximize the value out of it. We know we should be doing it, but we feel like we're not actually doing it right. And I mentioned to you as we were talking before the recording that I was at a business function recently, only just last night, and instead of asking for a business card, the question I was asked was, "Are you on LinkedIn?" So that is important to get this right. So you obviously believe it's right. You put a lot of, I guess, you burnt the ships. You went full in onto LinkedIn, but you came from a very safe position. You had a very safe job, 6 figures back in the day. Why take the change and move completely away from that safe environment and go into a world where you're pursuing a new business and relying heavily on LinkedIn?
Because I'm crazy. So let me back up a little bit. I'm crazy, but I had a plan. So back in 2012, like a lot of people, I had a safe 6-figure day job, corporate. What was killing me was our 3 boys at the time were all under the age of 10, and they would leave me these voicemails at work every day. "Hey, Dad, I'm doing this. When are you coming home?" And I actually, if you listen to my audiobook, LinkedIn Riches, I put in the voicemails because I saved them all these years. And I decided I was going to take this crazy leap. I wanted to try to build work around my life instead of the other way around. So at the time, I had one client, enough money for 30 days. And I thought, okay, great. I'm going to quit my day job. I had my wife and 3 sons at home to support. We had credit card debt. I had no savings, and I took this crazy leap. And what I had learned and what we were talking about before we hit record, Paul, was I saw an opportunity with LinkedIn in 2012 because I'd been using it for multiple years for my career. But I started looking at it going, man, why couldn't you just reverse engineer this and kind of make it like your Google for B2B leads? Because everyone's on here, especially now as we talk, there's over 1 billion with a B professionals on the platform, 2 new people join it every single second. And what LinkedIn has done is they've gone big brother on all of us, and they've indexed every keystroke you've ever entered into the platform. So even in 2012, I saw this opportunity where, man, I could make lists of the exact decision makers I want to sell my service to, and then I could just reach out to them one-on-one, one person at a time. And what I was able to do in those first 90 days after I quit my job was make 6 figures in sales. So that enabled me to, feed my kids, which is always good, but build this, work from home business. And so that led to the book LinkedIn Riches and online courses and getting featured in places like Inc. magazine and the New York Times. And listen, my wife gave me a little sign that says I'm kind of a big deal. So, but I love to have fun. What's really cool though, and what we can get into today is the exact method that I came up with in 2012 is still what works best today on LinkedIn. So I'd love to unpack that for the listeners to really help them understand like the opportunity now is better than ever. It's the same approach. The great part about it is the principles haven't changed.
And I think that that's one key thing that we need to remember, because we're often distracted by the bright, shiny new tool or the new method. But it's the principles of what are we actually trying to achieve with LinkedIn? What are we actually trying to achieve with our marketing? And LinkedIn is a great method, marketplace, meeting place to do that. But we get it so wrong. Why is that the case? Because I'm bombarded every day by messages where I can tell that people have not taken really any care. They've just, come up with a list, sent out a blast, but there's completely, I guess, when you read the messages, you just think that is a really dumb way to speak to me. Why would you do it?
Right. Yeah. And it all boils down to this. Like when I started my business, one of my business Bibles, the book that I've always relied on is called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. A lot of people have heard of it. He wrote it in 1936, and I literally built my whole business off one line from the book. And the line is, your ideal client, your ideal customer does not care about you. They do not care about me. They care about themselves, morning, noon, and after supper. And I think one of the big mistakes people make on LinkedIn is they view it in terms of connections and messages, and they use these leads and prospects. They don't say humans, people. There's a person on the other end of those DMs. And so a lot of what the mistakes that you see on LinkedIn that you and I deal with every day when we log into our inbox is everyone is pitching us, everyone's talking about themselves. They assume we care, which we don't. Like, and there's just no context, there's no human interaction. One of the key things is I tell clients this all the time. I'm like, they're frustrated with LinkedIn, doesn't really work. And I say, well, in real life, you would never walk up to a person that you just met at a conference hall or in a bar or a restaurant and say, hi, I'm John Nemo. Can we go over to the corner for 30 minutes so that I can sell you my services? Like, you would never do that, right? You wouldn't ask for their time. You wouldn't just immediately start pitching them. You would qualify them. You treat them like a human. And so what I realized very quickly with LinkedIn was there were just a couple simple things I had to do. The first thing that everyone has to get right is their profile. And I know we won't go super in depth on that because we want to talk more about the one-on-one messaging, but just a couple simple things from my own story that will help people understand. Having what I call a client-facing profile is key, meaning it shouldn't be a CV or a resume where you talk about yourself in the third person and you list your job title. No one cares. No one cares, Paul. They do not care about you. Sorry. Maybe your mom does. Maybe your cat does, although cats are very conniving. They probably just care about themselves. Dogs care about you. They love you. But sorry for the cat people. Here's what I did with my profile in 2012. I changed my profile headline from CEO Nemo Media Group, which of course sounds very impressive, but it was me with a wobbly folding card table in an upstairs bedroom. That was Nemo Media Group. And I had one client. So I changed it and I used a new LinkedIn headline formula. This is something anyone listening right now can immediately do. It's the service I provide for a target audience. So instead of it being your job title and your company name or a bunch of hyperbole like lead generation ninja or guru or Jedi Knight, very simple service you provide for a target audience. So I made mine that at the time the only client I had was a debt collector. I had worked for a trade association helping debt collectors. I did PR and marketing. The one guy that was a client of mine when I went on my own owned a collection agency. So what I learned very quickly on LinkedIn is the riches are in the niches, including with my profile. If I had a profile that said CEO Nemo Media Group and I reached out to debt collectors, they're not going to know who I am, what Nemo Media Group is, or what's in it for them, right? Remember Dale Carnegie, they only care about themselves. So I made my LinkedIn headline say, marketing services for debt collection agencies. So service I provide, marketing, target audience, debt collectors. Today, my profile says, done for you LinkedIn lead generation for small business owners, consultants, and coaches. If you take that and do that in your own profile, think about now when you reach out to people on LinkedIn. They know within 2 seconds what you do, and who it's for. So I can decide if I'm a small business owner, a coach, or consultant, and John Nemo reaches out to me, I can look under his photo at his headline and it says LinkedIn lead generation for people just like me. I can immediately go, well, now I know what's in it for me. If I connect with John, he's going to help me with lead generation. So that was the first thing. And there's more that I can get into. And I have a whole free template we can talk about. LinkedInriches.com. If you go there, you can get everything for free, all my stuff. I give it all away for free. But that was step one, was having this client facing profile.
And
Step
John, you
two.
were just on that. I think the statistic that's quoted is that about 99% of LinkedIn profiles are set up incorrectly. So if there's
Yeah.
so many that are set up incorrect, you're at a major advantage if you get this right.
Yeah. So let's dive into that a little bit more. So thank you for reminding me of that. I mean, the key thing is 99% of profiles are set up like a CV or a resume, right? They're all about you, they're all about your company. It's all written in the third person. And again, nobody cares, right? Your ideal prospects, your ideal clients, they want their problem solved now. So what I did, I created this whole framework to basically follow Dale Carnegie and say, how do I make this all about the prospect? So headline, service I provide for this target audience. First line of your profile, as an example, another quick win people can use right away. So your about section, the first sentence, you say, what I do, colon. So all capital letters, what I do. And then you say, I help, you insert your target audience, get 2 to 3 benefits that they want by providing my product or service. So what I do, colon, I help this audience get these benefits by providing this product or service. So in my case, when I was first starting, I said, I help debt collection agencies get more clients, reduce bad publicity, and increase revenue by providing industry specific marketing services. Today, my first line says, what I do, I help target audience, small business owners, consultants, and coaches get some benefits they want, qualified leads, more revenue, and sales appointments by providing my service done for you, LinkedIn lead generation. So when you rewrite your profile that way, instead of I'm the CEO of Nemo Media Group and we blah, 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 like if you write it that way, what I do, who I work with, what clients say, and put in testimonials, services I provide, and then you have a list of specific services. And another great line is what makes me unique, and you can say having spent 10 years doing A, B, and C and having these certifications or working with over 1,000 business owners. The idea is you flip this profile away from being a resume all about you into this is who I help, this is what I do, this is how it gets them to solve the problems they want. When you do it that way and you combine it with reaching out to targeted people on LinkedIn, and your profile is all about these 2 to 3 target audiences, they read that and they go, cool, it's all about me. It's all about solving my problems. Now you're getting engagement, way more than 99% of other people.
And I guess when you get that right, most people, when they see your LinkedIn profile for the first time, I would probably be generous and say they're going to take no more than 3 seconds to assess whether they want to continue reading or flick on to the
Correct.
next person.
100%. Because why would I care, Paul? I don't care that you own a company that I've never heard of and I don't even know what you do. Most profiles start with that because we think we're so important. Or I run the other way because you have a bunch of hype and hyperbole in there. You have stars and ninja and guru and, guaranteed 100x ROI, make $1 million in 2 seconds. If you see that stuff, we're going to run for the hills. Remember, we're human beings, and you have to remember the psychology of it, which is A, all I care about is me and solving my problems, and B, can I trust you? Right. And if you have all this hype and hyperbole, that scares me. And also, the other big thing that I think people do is they use a bunch of fancy jargon and business words. They don't make it simple. You got to make it simple. Think about how busy people are and how we scan. And to your point, if you can't understand 3 seconds what's in it for you to read my profile, you're not going to keep going. But if you see it and go, oh, LinkedIn lead gen for small business. Okay. Like I need some help. Okay. I'll look at it a little bit more. And that's where the magic happens.
So once we've got them to our profile and the 3 seconds, they understand exactly the benefit for them of continuing to read, continuing to engage. But there's a step between that. So we've identified that we're sending a message to them in the mailbox. How do we make sure that they actually read or want to read the message or the communication we've sent, and then they go and see want to interact more with us. But
Right.
most people really, I guess, say do this poorly. That's being polite. I think they
That's
do it
being
really poorly.
generous. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I literally had one before this call that said, "Hi, John. I'd like to book 30 minutes of your time to discuss commercial cleaning services for Nemo Media Group," in my inbox. Paul, I work from home. I don't have a commercial facility. Rosie the dog is over here in the recliner off camera. If they want to come over and vacuum my side office, knock yourself out. But like, think about the salesperson's point of view. You're reaching out to all these people that aren't qualified. Why are you wasting your time booking calls with some guy that works in his pajamas out of home? Like, you're an idiot, right? So, what I do and what I found worked in 2012, I'm going to unpack the whole system because I don't know anyone else teaching this. The other good news is this is going to save everyone watching and listening hours and hours and hours of pain and suffering. So here's the great news. After having done this for over a decade, building my own 7-figure business, all from LinkedIn, helping hundreds of different clients do 5 and 6-figure sales, I will tell you right now, everyone lean in. I'm going to let you in a little secret. Maybe I should whisper. Okay, you don't need to publish any content on LinkedIn. You don't need to do newsfeed posts. You don't need to do articles. You don't need to do newsletters. You don't need to do ads. You don't need to do videos. You don't need to do carousels. You don't need to do any of that. All the money on LinkedIn's in the mailbox. It's in one-on-one messaging. So that's the good news, is you can stop with all the content chaos. And I can explain why that doesn't work if you want to know more about that in a minute. But what I found is every single client I've ever gotten from LinkedIn and every single client that our, customers get comes from one-on-one messaging. So here's the secret sauce. Okay, what do you put in the message? How do you get them to reply? So what you do, step one is obviously niched client-facing profile. So it's all about these target audiences. Step two, I use Sales Navigator. I build a list of the exact decision makers that I would want to talk to. And it's basically, think of it like building online neighborhoods. Yeah.
Sales Navigator. How do we get access to that? Because I don't believe everybody has access to
No,
that in their LinkedIn
it's a
profile.
paid add-on. Yep. So you can use basic LinkedIn search as well. They have a paid level Sales Navigator. And the reason it matters is if you pay for the premium version of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they give you more data. So because, like I said earlier, LinkedIn went big brother and they know everything about everyone. If basic LinkedIn search, I can get some things like I want, you know, CFOs at hospitals in Sydney who have a employee count of 200 more people. But if I use Sales Navigator, I can say I want hospital CFOs who have been in their role for this many years. Their hospital does this much in revenue, has this many employees. This is where they went to university. This is what they've been posting the last 30 days. Like, you can get so much detail and basically make these, pitch perfect lists of all your ideal prospects. And you can make hundreds, if not thousands of people. Now you've built these neighborhoods. You're going to go digital door knocking, right? One at a time with a LinkedIn outreach message. That, once you know that, your profile matches your audience, meaning I'm going to reach out to debt collectors and my profile says I help debt collectors do these things. So if a debt collector sees it and looks at my headline on my profile, they go, "Oh, cool. He works with people like me." Now, what do you put into the message? Do you immediately start by trying to marry them on the first date and pitch your services and offer to meet? No, right? Like, you're saying like 99% of people are doing that. It's super annoying. What I do is the complete opposite. I literally, and this is what works best right here, right now, today, I literally send one sentence, one question. And I say, "Hi, Paul, would you like my best free tips on how small business owners can get more leads from LinkedIn?" Or I'll say, "Hi, Paul, would you like a free copy of my book, LinkedIn Lead Generation for Small Business Owners?" That's it. That's all I say. And the reason this works is you do several things. One is it's super simple. It's one question. Two is you're offering free value up front. You're not asking for anything. Three is you're making it very simple to say yes. Four is you're asking permission. You're not assuming they want a copy of your book. "Hey, Paul, thought you'd enjoy a copy of my book. Here's the link." No, no, no. We're asking. And the reason this works so brilliantly is you pre-qualify people. So when I make this list of all these small business owners I want to talk to, some may not want to use LinkedIn for leads. Some might be retired. Some might already have an in-house person doing it. Some might already have an agency. Well, I don't want to waste my time booking calls and talking to all of them if they're not a lead, right? And I don't need to hyper personalize everything up front to try to become friends with them. I just want to know off the beginning, are you even interested in this topic? So that's why I say, hey, would you like my best free tips on blank? And blank being the problem that you solve, the topic. Would you like my best free tips on how to increase employee retention? Would you like my best free tips on how to reduce your taxes as a small business owner? Right. And let people say yes or send back a thumbs up. And then this is the key. When they say yes, then you deliver a free piece of content. And everyone's asked, well, what is that? Like, what are your best free tips? How do you bottle that up? Is it a webinar, a podcast, an article, a blog post, a carousel? What's worked best across every niche in every LinkedIn vertical that I've ever seen for the last 12 years is ebooks. And when I say ebooks, don't panic. It's not the boring AI slop generated, 5 tips to be a better leader. Here's what goes into a great ebook. It's a high end kind of PDF, 3 to 5,000 words that's written like you would write a book. So, meaning 50% is you and your story and your journey, and 50% is your best tips, frameworks, and strategies and insights. And the reason I do it that way is there's two things going on when someone starts to consume your free content and tips. If you only share tips, no one cares about me, no one wants to hear my story. Yeah, I would agree. But if you only share tips, then you're just a commodity. They could have gotten those tips from AI, or there's no emotional connection. When you share a story and your journey, they now connect with Paul, the person. He's a dad. Here's his passions. Here's what, So I started this podcast with my story. I quit this day job because I wanted to be home with my boys, right? I had this journey. And so I share that in my book so that people know I'm relatable, I'm authentic, I'm a real person. You use authentic photos of yourself. So here's a few, and then you write it in a way where it's a dramatic narrative. So here's a few opening lines of ebooks we've done for clients. And tell me if you wouldn't want to learn more, right? So one starts with, I just thought my brother-in-law had too much wine during dinner. Instead, the phrase he blurted out changed my life. Well, what's going on? That's a franchise consultant who helps people buy franchise businesses. That's okay. That we're starting with her story, and then we're pivoting into how to choose a franchise. Another one started with, my hands were literally trembling as I made the largest wire transfer of my life. I was down to my final $2,000. What's going to happen next, right? This is a guy that's built a $2 billion commercial real estate syndication business. Another ebook started with, this was the opening line, my career started with a lie. Whoa, like there's a story here, right? And if you think about how we're wired, we love a good story, we love a good character, and you're the character, you're the story. So you look at your own story and you go, for me, it's I walked out the back door in 2012 and left a safe 6-figure day job with one client of mine for 30 days. What happened next shocked me, and then people are going to read that. So you tell enough of your story and then how it relates to the topic of what you do now, because people need to know, like Simon Sinek talks about, start with why. Why do you do what you do? Why are you passionate? Because that helps them relate to you and go, yeah, I'd want to learn from that person. I'd want to work with them. We connect. We have the same priorities and passions. And I love that they're being authentic and they overcame these obstacles. So that's 50% of the ebook. The other 50% is your best tips, frameworks, templates, tools. So you demonstrate expertise, case studies, client stories. What happens is, again, we go back to the LinkedIn message. Would you like my best free tips on LinkedIn lead gen? They reply, yes. I send them the ebook, right? They read it and they get to know, like, and trust me as a person. And they get to see me demonstrate expertise and go, that's a great tip. That's a great tip. I really like that. That makes a lot of sense. Now I have context for a follow-up conversation on LinkedIn, meaning, hey, did you have a chance to get to the book? Yeah, I really liked it. Well, what resonated? The part about this, this, and this. I really struggle with that in my business. Fantastic. That's something we actually help small business owners with. Would it make sense to get on a call and talk more live to see if we can help? And it can be that simple. And that's all you need to do to get clients on LinkedIn. That's it. That's literally the formula I've been using since 2012. So there you go, Paul.
So just unpacking and that's a very simple framework, very easy to I guess to follow. Obviously, there's some you need to practice that and get it right, but there's a couple of key things that I picked up there. The first one is that in that one sentence question that you're asking the contact, the person you're reaching out to, very quickly, it's an easy yes or no. Yes or no, do I want to continue this conversation? If it's a no, well, you haven't lost anything because, as you mentioned, it may not be right for them. And you're not needing to follow it up. I look through some of our quarantined emails, and I see the 17th email from the same person saying, "Hey, you haven't responded. There's a reason I haven't responded. I don't
Exactly.
need
You're not
you."
interested. Why are they wasting their time? You're not interested.
So,
Oh my
but very
goodness.
quickly, you've worked out who is a
Yes.
qualified person to go to the next step with. And I love the thing that you've given not just the tips, but you've actually created that engagement that you've shown them why they can trust you, and but then you've also shown the credibility. And then that next piece of that conversation is so much easier because they know who you are, they know your background, they know what you can do for them, but they also know the problem you solve that they need solving. It's certainly a very well thought through and obviously successful because you've been doing it since 2012. You don't keep doing something that isn't working, or you shouldn't keep doing something that isn't working.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
been working really well. You're helping business owners do that. Now, I just want to come back to one other. Or actually, there's two other things, two other quotes that I really want to pick up on. And I've heard this. A number of people that I've heard mention this. The riches are in the niches, and anybody that's listened to any of Pat Flynn's work or with Smart Passive Income, you will always hear him saying the riches are in the niches. And we talked with I think Jen Christensen on niche marketing before, and she was dealing with a very niche industry, the health industry. Why is it so important to focus on the niche that you are targeting?
I'll give you a great story that illustrates the power of this on LinkedIn. What I've learned on LinkedIn, firstly, is if you try to be everything to everyone, you're going to be nothing to no one. Like it's just too broad, it's too big. And people really want to feel like you get them, you've walked in their shoes, you understand their world. We all think we're unique, Paul. We all think we're unique, and that if you haven't been in my role or industry, you would never be able to help me. So, a great example of this, we had a client named Catherine Bishop, does accounting, bookkeeping, and CPA work, tax work. She came to me and was ready to kind of close her business and go back to teaching academically, right? She's like, I just can't figure this out. I have a small business. I'm doing accounting and bookkeeping. I've heard LinkedIn might help. And so, well, tell me your story and let me see. And I said, who are you trying to market to? And she said, well, anyone. Like anyone, everyone needs accountants, everyone needs bookkeepers, everyone needs tax help. So, okay, that's your first problem. So tell me, like, what's your story? And so she said, well, I grew up, my dad was a construction guy, contractor. I had to be on a job site every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. picking up nails. That was how he kept track of me in high school. You know, that was my curfew. I had to be up Saturday morning working on the job site, carrying boards as a girl. And my mom was a CPA. And I thought, oh, wow, okay, that's really neat. And then she said, yeah. And later I worked at Deloitte and Duke Energy and worked for these big corporate places and did a bunch of high end, accounting things. And now I'm out on my own. I said, okay, well, knowing LinkedIn, the riches are in the niches. If we make your profile all about how you help this niche audience, contractors and construction guys, with accounting, bookkeeping, and taxes, I think it's going to work really well. And she said, okay, I'll put it in your hands. Go for it. So we redid her profile, just like we talked about earlier. Her headline said, accounting, bookkeeping, and tax prep for construction companies and contractors. First line, what I do, I help contractors and construction companies, increase revenue, reduce taxes and XYZ by providing these services. What makes me unique? I literally grew up on job sites as a young girl. My dad was a contractor. I spent every Saturday morning doing this, right? What happened was when we started reaching out with Catherine's profile to contractors and construction guys, guess what? They immediately were interested because they're like, oh, cool. You literally grew up in the industry. Your dad does it. There's no learning curve. We don't have to educate you. You get all the unique challenges and nuances of our industry and how taxes and books work. Great. This is great. Can we just hire you? She got so much business within the first 90 days. She called me in panic and said, turn it off. She's like, turn off the campaigns. She said, it's working too well. And I have her testimonial front and center on my website where she said, literally, turn it off. She got so much business. Her husband, Brian, quit his day job and he now works for her. And 2 years after we stopped working with her, she's still getting leads and business from her LinkedIn profile just sitting there. So the whole point is that's the power of a niche on LinkedIn. Is again, so many people come to me and say, well, no, I don't want to limit myself. I can do accounting and bookkeeping for anyone. And I'm like, yeah, but if you're a big fish in a small pond, one niche, you'll have so much business you'll never need to go anywhere else. And the beauty of LinkedIn is you can sort it into niches, and that's why it works so well. There's a reason I say small business owners and consultants and coaches and not any and every type of business on earth, because those are niches that I can quickly market to, right? Doesn't mean I can't help anyone and everyone with LinkedIn. Of course I can. But again, that's the power of the riches are in the niches.
Mm, mm, absolutely. I guess, you tend to fish in a particular area for a particular type of fish. You'll catch something else along the way, and you can either throw that back or you can choose to keep working with it. But in most cases, you should throw it back because you need to focus on your niche. That's what you're an expert in. The other one, and we've talked about this, but I guess it's become one of your catchphrases is the money is in the mailbox.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where I was going crazy earlier, because I really want people, especially now, I just feel like people are so overwhelmed thinking, and you alluded to it earlier, there's so much you can do on LinkedIn. You can do all these different forms of content, and this is the other thing, all the gurus and all the experts are going to tell you, well, if you just go viral, if you try to hack the algorithm, if you use AI, and if you comment on enough posts, and if you post enough videos, people will magically come in and give you money. And it's like, it just doesn't work. Like, and I also talk about, even if you do quote unquote go viral on LinkedIn with a post, think about this. Let's say you get a post and it gets 500 likes and 600 comments and a bunch of, thousands of views. You now have to go through individually every person that liked it and every person that commented and vet them and say, well, is that guy from India really going to be a client of mine? No, he's not a fit. Or is that college intern that liked it going to be able to afford my $25,000 product? No. Okay, well, what about that person over there? Okay, but they don't have any context. They read one post I wrote, as opposed to they read a full 3 to 5,000 word book about me, my story, my journey. Let's get back to that for a second. Your content is the currency that buys the time and interest and attention of your prospects when it's done well. And it pre-sells you and it pre-frames you. So they come into the sales call, they already know, like, and trust you. They view you as an authority. You've demonstrated expertise. And that's why the money is in the mailbox, is because you can go one-to-one to your exact decision makers instead of posting in the feed and hoping the right people see it and then chasing them down. Instead, no, you're just going through a neighborhood one door at a time, where every single person in the neighborhood is a CEO, right? Who is your exact ideal prospect. And you're going, hello, nice to meet you, Mr. CEO. Would you like my best free tips on blank? If they say yes, you're going to come back to that house and visit and say, hey, was that helpful? Did you find it useful? Oh, I'm going to get to it next week. Well, then you can follow up next week. And now you can personalize it. And this is where real magic comes in on LinkedIn. Again, I can look at your profile, Paul, and see, where do you live? Where did you go to university? Where have you worked? What have you posted about? So when I follow up in the mailbox, I can personalize it and say, hey, Paul, just wanted to follow up about the ebook I left. By the way, I see you live in this city. I hope the weather's treating you well. Or I see you went to university here. Do you still follow the sports teams? Or whatever. I see you posted about a recent vacation you took. I hope the weather was great. And it's that rapport building human behavior that, by the way, 99% of people never do with a LinkedIn message. But you're only investing that extra personalization knowing they already are interested in the topic. They already kind of opted in to learn more about your service. Then you personalize, and you can use the features in the LinkedIn mailbox, like doing, the selfie videos or audio messages or animated GIFs. Like, they've made it so it can be like texting or sending quick videos. And that's really where you can hyper personalize your engagement at scale from your desk or from your office or from your phone. And you're only doing it with people that you know are interested. And that's, I think, where all the dots connect. And that's why I love saying the money's in the mailbox.
Oh, fantastic. So I think, there's a very simple message, but you've unpacked it. And I feel like there's a lot more we can do with this. But I think, very simple, short, direct messages, offering something useful to the right people, to the niche that you are targeting. Great examples of how we can use LinkedIn correctly, and just highlights the ways that so many people are using it poorly. We'll stick with poorly. There's other words that come to mind. uh,
Yeah, you're right about that.
Absolutely. So, John, I guess the key question now is, you mentioned you do done for you LinkedIn. How would our listeners get in touch with you if they wanted to investigate working with you on
Yeah.
this on their LinkedIn profile
Well, first I'm
and
going to
messaging.
say, and this is for the video audience. So I have all these books I give away for free. So if you go to linkedinriches.com, you can get my book for free. You can get my profile template for free. I have all these different niche books. And the idea is I I eat my own dog food. I give away all my best tips for free. I let you get to know, like, and trust me and the process so that if you want to explore done for you, you already come in knowing, oh, okay, I get it. This is how it works. So linkedinriches.com to get all the free tips and tools and books. NemoMediaGroup.com is where we have the whole done for you agency, and you can see walkthrough videos, how the process works, who we work with, client testimonials. And the big thing, I just want people, regardless of whether you ever use any of our free tips or explore working with us, understand the opportunity on LinkedIn. Because I think a lot of people I talk to are sour on LinkedIn. Like, it's just spam. I just get pitched. I'm scared to open my inbox. I'm going to cover my eyes. That doesn't mean it's not effective. It's the same thing with, you still use email every day and you still use the telephone every day, even though marketers have ruined both, right? Marketers ruin everything, to quote Gary Vaynerchuk. They're trying to ruin LinkedIn. But the opportunity in this that Paul and I have been talking about is, if you use a different approach, you stand out from the 99% using LinkedIn poorly. Those are the messages that get replied to. Those are the people that you engage with. Because breaking news, all your best prospects are on LinkedIn. They are using the platform, over 1 billion of them. If you know how to get a hold of them and engage them in a way that we've talked about, you're going to get opportunities and sales calls with people that are qualified and warmed up and bought into you. And that's why it's such an effective tool. And that's why we have so many clients having success. Is it's just about using it the right way. And hopefully people listening understand it doesn't need to be complicated. It's a very simple framework: client-facing profile, one good piece of content, the ebook, and the one-on-one messaging. That's all you need to do. If you just do that on your own, you will get business.
Fantastic. John, thank you so much for what you've shared today. So much value in there. So many good tips on how to, you've given us your best tips for free today, or some of your best tips. If you want more, you've got to contact John. If you enjoyed this, don't be selfish. Share this with another business owner that could really benefit from what John shared today. Reach out to John at Nemo Media Group. We'll put the links, as always, in the show notes and on the businessbehindyourbusiness.com website, and also in the LinkedIn post. So go to LinkedIn and follow us there, and look out for more great content from us and from John and his team at Nemo Media Group. John, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really excited about this conversation today, and I'm no longer fearing jumping into my LinkedIn inbox. Looking forward to the opportunities that are really hidden in there. Thank you for sharing with us today.
All right. Thanks so much, Paul. Appreciate it.
That's a wrap for this episode of The Business Behind Your Business. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and valuable for your business journey. Before we go, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Share it with fellow business owners who could benefit, and send in your burning questions, because we love hearing from you. Missed any of our previous episodes or looking for additional resources to help grow your business? Head over to our website at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. There you'll find our full archive of past episodes, along with show notes, transcripts, and links to valuable resources mentioned in each episode. Your journey to business success continues at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. Until next time, stay inspired, stay informed, and keep building the business of your dreams.